This is the top for Bitcoin. That is what the world is screaming and saying right now. We see everyday investors, traders, people nervous, charts looking stretched, and we even see people bracing for a crash, just convinced it's coming. And maybe it's because there's a lot of doom and gloom in the air. This is a separate topic. Maybe it's the war between Israel and Palestine, or maybe it's the Russia war conflict as well with Ukraine. We know that Charlie Kirk was also recently assassinated, a channel and a thought leader whom I followed closely. Frankly, the news was unbelievably shocking, and it just really seems like there's a big shift happening in the world. And perhaps that is an underlining factor behind the market, because the market does respond to geopolitical and social unrest. But if we take a step back from all this noise that we see going on in the world and in the market, the data in the charts and the facts speak for themselves. Bitcoin has continued, despite everything, despite all the opposition, it's continued to grind higher. Institutions have also continued buying, and Solana has broken out, which is what we're going to zoom into in today's show, because we know that here at my channel, and thanks for joining me, right now we see Solana is outpacing Ethereum and the rest of the market. And we also see institutions, big funds, quietly building positions. We see more and more companies creating their own Bitcoin strategic reserves, and everyone knows what's going on because these people study economics, They live by this. So they know the golden opportunity in front of them. And they are building positions in Dogecoin right now, believe it or not. I can't believe I'm saying these words. Outrageous, But we're also gonna look into why the Fed's next moves, because we know they're looking to be printing here very soon. Why their next move and cutting rates, most likely, though it's not confirmed, could very likely unleash trillions of dollars of fresh liquidity into the market. And therefore, why the months coming ahead of us here look less like a cycle top, as some think might happen, and instead looks more like the opening act of a much larger surge and rally in the market. So if this sounds good to you, then let's get into today's video. Happy Friday, by the way, and let's begin, Because right now, investors and traders are all staring at the same stat. Bitcoin has dropped an average of 9% after CPI data reports in recent months. The fear is real. But if we take a step back and zoom out, what you would see if you were to zoom out on the chart, I encourage you to see it, is the most silent cycle in history. Bitcoin keeps climbing up, with no hype, no euphoria, a lot of political turbulence, global turbulence, war, rumors of war, as I said in my intro. And there has been no mainstream media, as I was talking about in my video yesterday, which I encourage you to go watch, because we understand, and I go in this in larger detail in my video yesterday, on how we need, in many ways, mainstream media to kick off the bull run, because that gets the everyday investor interested, looking at crypto, looking at different tokens, tuning into channels like mine, which will be the most truthful channel they could tune into, if I could say so myself. And regardless, they're going to find other crypto YouTubers that are pumping tokens, and that's what gets their money involved. Everyone wants to make money, right? Everyone wants to change their finances or level up. So once they all start investing, that money creates the bull run. So in many ways, we need that. And we haven't had that this cycle so far. And nevertheless, Bitcoin, if you zoom out, you'll see it's up and down, a little bit up and down, but overall up. It's going up in general. And that's powerful. That speaks volumes. And it isn't just Bitcoin that has been experiencing this. Every major asset around us is at a record high. Stocks, homes, gold, national debt, the money supply, inflation, all at all-time highs. The S&P 500, for instance, has added 15 trillion in market cap since April, which is a 36% gain in just 5 months. And Bitcoin is moving right step in step with it. And here is what is very, very interesting, guys. This bull market in traditional markets is only 3 years old. Historically, equity bull markets last closer to 8. So by that measure, we're nowhere near the end. We're still in the very early nascent, phase of our bull run. So now let's shift gears a little bit, because while Bitcoin has been grinding in silence, moving up slowly but surely, Solana is having its loudest moment ever. Mike Novogratz, one of the initial investors behind Ethereum and Vitalik, and arguably one of the sharpest macro traders in modern markets, is saying Solana is the only chain capable of running internet scale capital markets. Now, mind you, as a parenthesis, he clearly has not been keeping up with Sui, which I will do a complete deep dive on Sui Monday or Tuesday, because I'm actually going to be doing a collab with Altcoin Buzz. So stay tuned. So this next video on Sui, 100% Sui, will be Tuesday or Wednesday next week. So stay tuned. But anyway, the point is that Mike Novogratz, who has a track record, has known how to spot unicorns in advance, is coming out saying these very, very strong statements about Solana. And he is calling for a $1,000 Solana, which is the same prediction, mind you, we gave a month ago here on my channel. So go check out that video because we did call it first. But it helps when a voice of authority says it themselves, right? That's the power of being someone influential and someone that follows through on what you say and that is steady and well studied, as we're all aiming to become, because then later we can impact people. And of course, only in the best way. And now we see that Solana's network itself is backing it up. Solana can already process more transactions than equities, bonds, commodities, and FX combined.
Why Solana at this moment? Total transactions per second Solana can do in a day is 14 billion. That's more than total transactions on equities, fixed income, commodities, and foreign exchange, right? And so you've got a blockchain that's now fast enough, tailor-made to be the blockchain for financial markets. And you got an SEC chair saying, I want you to build on chain. And so those two things are lining up. I'm calling this the season of Sol. Right behind us, you've got Dan Moorhead, who's coming with a Sol fund, a Sol treasury company.
The ecosystem is igniting too. Lily Liu, president of Solana's foundation and one of the key voices guiding its global strategy, says the new digital asset treasuries backed by Galaxy, Jump, and Multicoin are just the beginning.
Yes, and so you've seen a couple of pure play Solana DATs come to market so far. I think you're going to see a few more coming in the next few weeks. So stay tuned for that. And I think it's very impactful for the Solana ecosystem because what these are today is they're focused around the asset, but then over the longer term, they're going to become ecosystem companies. They're going to be building within the ecosystem, using Solana technology for decentralized finance, for moving money around the world. And what these also are, they're institutionally oriented organizations that help tell the story of why blockchain and, of course, why Solana to the broader institutional community. So this announcement from Ford Industries, sponsored by Galaxy and Jump and Multicoin, is momentous. It's huge. I think it might even be the largest pipe transaction over the last few months. And it's really just at the beginning. You're going to see a couple of more pipes from here as well, articulating Solana's global financial infrastructure for every major economy across the globe and for a whole range of assets between stablecoins to tokenized assets and so on and so forth. So we're really excited about it.
The attention isn't just on Solana itself. It's also pouring into its ecosystem. Safety Shot, a NASDAQ listed company known for its health and wellness products, just bought $55 million worth of bonk, 2.5% of the supply, locking it into Solana's DeFi treasury. And in the last 30 days, Solana's apps generated more than $207 million in revenue. Ethereum's apps, for instance, brought in just $90 million. That's a massive difference. And even Wall Street is circling the DTCC, the clearinghouse that processes nearly all US securities trades, has now listed Fidelity's Solana ETF. It's a procedural step, but an important one and on the road to potential approval. So call it what you want, okay? But the market has already called it. They've already named it Solana season. Now, it's important to stay grounded because Bitcoin is the anchor. Nothing compares to Bitcoin. Just look at Arizona State Pension Fund. They put 24 million into Strategy, formerly MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor's company, giving retirees exposure through one of the biggest corporate treasuries in the world. But while Bitcoin is their foundation, as I was saying, institutions are now widening their scope into Ethereum, Solana, and even Dogecoin. I literally can't believe I'm saying this. It's wild the time we live in. And JP Morgan says adoption is still in its early stages, with only about 25% of Bitcoin exchange traded products held by institutions. Yet Ethereum and Solana are already becoming their favorites. On the Ethereum side, hedge funds that have been betting against it are closing out their shorts, meaning they're not bearish on it anymore. And at the same time, 3 new wallets have accumulated more than $204 million worth of Ethereum. That isn't retail chasing price. That's strategic buying. And the meme frontier is evolving too. Clean Core Solutions, a NASDAQ listed company, has already built a Dogecoin treasury of more than 500 million Doge and has plans to lock up as much as 5% of the total supply. Wall Street is even preparing the first Dogecoin ETF, ticker Doji, DOJE, which would give institutions a direct way to get exposure to the coin that started out as a joke, but now moves billions in liquidity. Institutions are positioning themselves with intention, building across the spectrum from Bitcoin to Ethereum and Solana, and yes, now even Dogecoin. And what is the hidden driver, the mover behind all of this action we see in the market? Well, it's liquidity, of course. We know the Federal Reserve is about to cut rates and markets are pricing in 25 basis points. But the data points to something bigger. Unemployment is rising. Job claims have spiked to 263,000 and more than 1.5 million jobs have been revised away. Even David Servos, chief strategist at Jefferies, one of Wall Street's most established investment banks, says there's a cogent case for a 75 basis point cut because we know that even Scott Bessent has brought this up, that the Fed has been using, we covered this in yesterday's video, has been using outdated data. They even found it was inaccurately represented. So he was even saying that this calls for an increase and an adjusted rate cut. Anyway, don't quote me verbatim. These are not his exact words, but this is generally what is being said. So we know behind the scenes, a lot of pressure is being put on the Federal Reserve, all while the bond market is already moving. The 10-year yield has slipped under 4% for the first time since April, easing mortgage rates and loosening credit conditions. Monetary policy always works with a lag, which means the real impact of easier conditions will not be felt until November and December, which are also historically bullish months. So keep that in mind. It's coming, okay? We have bullish days ahead for many reasons outside of simply macro conditions and institutional investment into the crypto space. There are other factors. These months are always bullish. And beyond all of this, the stage is set. It appears to be set for this next year between quantitative easing, the printing of dollars into the system, balance sheet expansions, changes to the supplementary leverage ratio, not to mention Jerome Powell is fixing to retire. So the Fed Reserve itself, which has been always sort of like stepping on the brakes for the market, for the crypto market, the key impediment, I want to say, Jerome Powell, is being removed, all while the $11 trillion in debt is being refinanced too. So this is a wall of capital waiting to be unleashed. And it will define the next leg of this bull run. All while this week, we have also seen Binance recorded $6.2 billion in stablecoin inflows the biggest wave of the year. This kind of liquidity hitting exchanges shows traders and investors are gearing up with fresh capital. They're moving in. Like when troops move in before the war begins, they move first, right? So that's what we're seeing on Binance. And at the same time, institutional flows are accelerating through ETFs. Bitcoin ETFs are booming. And on September 10th, they pulled in 757 million in a single day. And just yesterday, they added another 552 million, bringing the total assets in US ETFs to nearly 148 billion. And Ethereum's ETFs joined in too, adding 114 million on the same day. And all this momentum is being reinforced by Wall Street itself. Franklin Templeton, with $1.6 trillion under management, has partnered with Binance's 300 million users. And along with them, BlackRock is pushing forward too, moving beyond ETFs into tokenization of real-world asset funds after its Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs each crossed 100 billion in assets under management. Globally, we see adoption is accelerating. Even sub-Saharan Africa processed $205 billion on-chain value over the past year, spearheaded by Nigeria with $92 billion, which is wonderful to hear because they have also been suffering with incredible inflation of their currency. All while South Africa's regulatory clarity is also drawing institutions. Stablecoins are powering cross-border flows across Africa, the Middle East, and Asia, even South America. And Kyrgyzstan has introduced a state crypto reserve to anchor its digital economy. If you still need proof that Bitcoin is taking over the world's financial economic mechanics, it just surpassed, it leapfrogged silver, it just overtook silver to become the 7th largest asset on the planet, even as silver itself reached its own 14-year-old time. So it's moving at a velocity that we have never seen. So where does this leave us? Bitcoin grinding higher in silence, okay? Solana breaking out with institutional firepower and its ecosystem also getting institutional attention. Ethereum and Doge being scooped up by serious capital. Trillions of liquidity already moving, with trillions more queued up. That global adoption is more real than ever. This cycle is setting up for acceleration. The October dominance move, the November liquidity wave, and the 2006 melt-up are all in play right now. And strong hands, smart old money, they know, and they are positioned. And this is what we need to copy as well in our finances. So don't listen to the weak hands. Don't listen to people who think it's over. Oh, they're down. Oh, whatever. Don't listen to them. Block these people out of your life because these are your finances and you have to be responsible for them, for yourself and for your family. So if you're watching this now, you're ahead of the headlines. So all you have to do is just not mess up. Just keep doing what you're doing. Stay focused, stay ready, because this story is entering into its next chapter. So if you haven't subscribed, guys, as we come to the end of my video, I'd ask you do. And then of course, like the video and then share it with a friend and family member that need to know what's going on. We are gonna ride through this bull run together. I'm going to tell you everything I know, hear, and study. Solana is heating up fast. And if you want to stay ahead of the crowd and spot the next Solana top ecosystem gem, you'll want to watch this next video. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I am back full time and I'm feeling better. And I will see you guys here on Monday. Make sure you have a wonderful weekend, get some rest, laugh. It's good for your brain, get some sunshine. And I'll see you guys on Monday.